It's time for the third Saturday in October, and we're here to break it down right here on Ty Talk Live. Welcome in, everybody, to Ty Talk Live. Stacy Blackwood, Jake Thomas. We are powered by the Believe Network. Jake, one of the best matchups of the entire season. Every season is here. Alabama versus Tennessee, the third Saturday in October. Can't wait to break this game down, Jake. I hope you've had a good week, and I'm excited to talk some Bama Tennessee.
Absolutely, Stacy. Good to be here with you tonight. And yeah, I'm ready to break this game down. It's going to be a fun game. Always is. The last couple of years with ever since Josh Heupel has become the Tennessee coach, and it's been more of a kind of like the rock fights we expected the Tennessee Alabama rivalry to be. So this I don't think this year is going to be any different.
Absolutely. Can't wait to break this down. And as a side note, if I sound funny or if I get a little fuzzy, I'm doing this on my phone right now. I'm not home, but we did want to get this out, and so I apologize for any audio or video issues we may experience in today's episode. But once again, we are powered by the Believe Network, so make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast. You can find Tide Talk Live. Leave us those written reviews there as well, and like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. Make sure you jump in the comments. Give us your score prediction for the Crimson Tides matchup against the Tennessee Volunteers on Saturday. Your bold predictions, just your overall thoughts on this matchup in Tuscaloosa. And without further ado, Jake, let's just dive right into this matchup. Such an exciting game because you look at these two teams, high-powered offenses with really good quarterbacks. The two best quarterbacks are two most productive quarterbacks in the SEC so far this season, and Joey Aguilar for Tennessee and Ty Simpson for Alabama. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think you could say there's some good and some bad for both units. So really an interesting matchup in Tuscaloosa this weekend. But let's first look, Jake, at the keys for Alabama when they have the football against this Tennessee defense, Jake. What matchups are you looking at most, and what are the keys for victory for Ty Simpson this Alabama offense?
Well, one of the matchups that I'm very interested in is really two that I got my eye on is how this offensive line handles that pass rush. Now, Tennessee pass defensively is not being great. I think they're like either 15th or 16th in the SEC, but their pass rush, they've got really good pass rushers, and this is going to be the best unit that this offensive line has seen this year. So how are we going to handle that? We've talked about, week after week, how we see improvement on the offensive line. Well, here's another game. We've got to see that improvement take another step because they're going to be pressuring us a good bit in this game all day. And then, of course, how does the receivers going to attack this secondary? I feel like we can have some success in against their secondary with our receivers and how our playmakers how they are whenever they're in open space. And I really think Cuevas can be an X factor in this game as well.
Yeah, I think it's much like last week, Jake, in terms of what the offense needs to do this week. You got to protect Ty Simpson, and they were okay against Missouri. I think they probably could have been a little better, but give props to Missouri. They got some dudes there that can get after the quarterback, and Tennessee, man, they got several dudes that can get after the quarterback. They have 26 sacks on the season as a team so far, which is just outrageous. I think that leads the country, if I'm not mistaken. It's right there
Mm-hmm.
towards the top. Two guys with 4 sacks. Then you got another one 3.5, another with 3. You got some defensive backs with a couple sacks. So they bring pressure from all sorts of areas on the field. But it does start up front. Tyree West, Joshua Joseph, Dominic Bailey. They got dudes that can get after the quarterback. So
Right.
it's up to Caden Proctor. It's up to whatever they decide to do on the right side, whether it's and I believe it's going to be Michael Carroll more this week.
Mm-hmm.
Even Coach Grubb kind of mentioned that in his press conference that he was moving towards being more of an every down player for this Alabama offense. So uh, the offensive line is the key to this game for Alabama. If they can protect Ty, as you mentioned, this Tennessee secondary can be had,
Yeah,
and Jeremy Bernard, Zay Horton, Lotsier Brooks, Ryan Williams, if he's healthy enough, which I think he's going to play. But how effective can he be? Because he's obviously not 100%.
yeah,
That's going to be a huge part of this game as well. Because I do think explosive plays can be made against Tennessee, but you have to protect Ty Simpson, and also part of protecting Ty Simpson goes to the running back room and what they can do in pass protection and also running the football, which leads to the Jan Miller injury, Jake. Of course, he
yeah,
goes out late against Missouri, I believe, there in the fourth quarter with a concussion. He's questionable right now, according to the report. I think it's leaning towards that he's probably going to play. That's just my opinion. I haven't heard anything definitive from inside the program, but I think Jan Miller's going to play. But is he 100%? I don't think you let him go if he's not 100%, especially dealing with a concussion. But you need guys like Jan Miller who can help protect Ty and also get downhill and run the football, because another way that you can kind of limit a pass rush is by running straight at him in a running game and attacking with a screen game. And we know how effective Jan Miller can be in that situation as well.
yeah. Absolutely, Stacey. I'm hoping, he get, he clears protocol, concussion protocol, and gets to play. But if not, I really expect them to use kind of, Kevin Riley probably be the guy they start out with, but I really expect to see Daniel Hillmore to be more of the physical back since Jim's going to be out, to attack this defensive front for Tennessee.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting because Alabama, they use a lot of motion. They use a
Mhm.
lot of different formations, and I'm just interested to see what they do to try to counter how aggressive Tennessee likes to get after the quarterback. Because I think one thing they've done is they have been a little more aggressive than what normally defenses are, because they know they're kind of limited on what they can do on the back end because they have had injuries there in the
Yeah.
secondary. Their top corner is out, McCoy. He's been out all year. I mean, a guy who was on pace to be a first round pick this upcoming NFL draft, and he still may be, even if he don't play a down of football this year, because he's that good. So Tennessee has missed him, and without having those playmakers in the back end of that defense, they've had to be more aggressive and say, look, if we're going to go down, we're going to go down swinging. And I
Right.
like that mentality. And
Yeah.
and it's led to them having kind of a Jekyll and Hyde season on the defensive side of the football. Sure, they can get after the quarterback and create a lot of negative plays, but man, do they give up some explosive plays? Do they get beat on the back end? Yes, they do. So Alabama has to be able to take advantage of that. And we've talked about, Jake, how the explosive plays have not quite been there as much as
Mhm.
we'd like for them to be there. Does that happen this week? To me, that is a big time key in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacy. And we have the quarterback who can get the ball deep to the wide receivers. We got wide receivers who are creating space downfield. So it all hinges on, can this offensive line, like you mentioned, keep Ty Simpson upright long enough to find that open guy downfield. Because like we have mentioned, this secondary is susceptible for long drives and long passes. So we'll see how it plays out offensively for the Tide.
If you had to name an X factor in this game for Alabama offensively, who would you go with?
I mentioned, I think Cuevas could be an X factor, but another guy, man, I'm telling you, the way Lottie Brooks has played the last couple of weeks, man. I mean, he's just a freshman, but he's already making, NFL top plays, and I mean, the kid is so special, and I think you're going to see him kind of budding a little bit more out this week, and start to see the ball come his way a lot more. So I think that in a high pressure situation, Ty Simpson knows he can go to that guy right there and get the play.
I love that pick, and
Hmm.
I'm going to go with somebody in the wide receiver room as well that is due a breakout game, and that's Ryan Williams. I
Right.
don't know how healthy. I think it's a calf injury. They haven't really said for sure, but I believe it's a calf injury from things I've been told. Um, but Ryan's due a big game, Jake. He's due some
Hmm.
big plays, and I
Yep.
think that may come on Saturday night inside Bryant Denny Stadium. So, anything else you want to add for Alabama offensively against this Tennessee defense, who, like I mentioned, has been Jekyll and Hyde all season?
Right.
One of the best pass rushes, if not the best pass rush in college football, especially in the SEC. But man, do they give up some explosive plays and give up some points. So Alabama is going to have to be good up front. And I think if they're good up front, Ty Simpson could have a day.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacy. I kind of go back. Mississippi State had a lot of success through the air against Tennessee, and then a week or two later, what did A&M? They shut down that high explosive octane offense that Mississippi State has. So they got guys that can get to the quarterback, but if they don't get to the quarterback, Tennessee is hurting on the backside and can give up, like you said, explosive plays.
All right, Jake. Now, defensively for Alabama against this high octane, high scoring Josh Heupel offense, man, this is an interesting matchup, Jacob, because
Mhm.
we know how crafty Coach Heupel is with his schemes and how he's able to use different formations and use those wide splits with his receivers to create lighter boxes where they're able to run the football more effectively and create good matchups on the outside. We know how good he is with the script to open games and how
Mhm.
Alabama's struggled early in games defensively. So this is a really, really interesting matchup for Alabama on the defensive side of the football. What's the biggest thing for you that you're watching out for in this matchup?
Alabama's rush defense again. I think we're seeing improvements there, but it's still not where we like it to be. Now, our pass defense has been really, really great this year. Of course, I don't think we've had and have seen a quarterback who is accurate like Joe Aguilar is. So it's going to be interesting to see how we play in the secondary. One guy I got my eye on that I feel like needs to step up this week, and that's Damani Jackson. And I feel like he can have a big game because I believe in the kid. I know he's got it in him because he did it last year. He just had a couple of rotten games. He needs a momentum boost and a confidence boost. And I think a big game here, an interception, a turnover, something that goes his way can give him that confidence boost. But I think if Alabama, can get after Aguilar and get him off his rhythm, I think we're going to be all right defensively.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Much like protecting Ty Simpson is going to be important. I think if Alabama can get Aguilar off because it's really kind of a one read system. What Heupel does, it's a
Mm-hmm.
really they want to try to get the ball out as quick as they possibly can. Now they do take deep shots, which does take a little time, but it's a one read type of offense. So if Alabama can get enough pressure to get Aguilar off what I'll call off script a little bit
Mm-hmm.
in the play, I think they can force some turnovers, force some bad decisions, and we know how Alabama's able to force and create turnovers and take advantage of those type things. So that's a big key to this game. But man, I look at this offense, Jake, and we can start by talking about how explosive they are at the wide receiver room with Chris
Mm-hmm.
Brazzell and Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews. It's really those three guys at wide receiver, but they're as good a three wide receivers as they are in the country as far as one unit. And so it's going to be a task to stop them and hold them in check. Then you have a good tight end and Miles Kitselman as well, who's a former Alabama player. They got dudes that can make plays on the outside, Jake. But to me, if you want to stop Tennessee and limit what they do offensively, you have to stop the run. I mean,
Right.
they love to run the football. Don't let the wide splits, don't let the spread formation fool you. They want to get downhill and run the football. And Deshaun Bishop, their running back, 481 yards on the season, Jake, averaging 7.6 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
You better be ready to get this guy on the ground because they're going to feed him, they're going to give him the football, and they're going to try to create a good running game in this matchup. And if they can do that and get Aguilar comfortable and get those receivers in good matchups, after they run you to death, they can hit you over the top with any of those three receivers.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacy. They, like you said, they like to run the ball. That's how they really start their offense out. Is try to establish the run, and then start getting Aguilar more involved. And by that time, if you're successful running the ball, then those safeties are going to sneak up 2 or 3 yards to try to play the run. That's how they go deep on you and have the one-on-one matchups. We talked. You just talked about how Heupel loves the scheme. You saw what he did in that Georgia game. He was able to scheme a wide receiver. I think it was Braswell, one of their best players, on a safety on multiple plays in that first half, and got big gains. I think he got a couple of touchdowns out of it too. So we've got to keep that guy in check because it feels like he's their spark plug on offense.
For sure, and he's itching to make some plays. I think he only had one catch for 4 yards last week against Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to make a big time effort to get him the football to make plays because he's special, man. I mean, you're talking about a guy
Hmm.
who's 6'5", can move, great hands, had
Hmm.
the game sealing intercept or touchdown catch against Alabama last year in Knoxville.
Yep.
I think he was matched up against King Mack, who's back at Penn State this year. But he's a big time player, Jake, and Aguilar has, you got to give this dude a lot of credit, Jake, coming in late from UCLA, where he wasn't even there that long after transferring from
Right.
Appalachian State. But I want to say, Jake, this guy only threw one interception or only had one interception the first couple of weeks, but it's got three over the past like 3 weeks.
Hmm.
So I think if you can get after him and get him a little bit uncomfortable, he's prone to throw some interceptions.
Right.
I think at Appalachian State, he threw around 49 touchdowns and like 25, 26 interceptions. So uh, he's prone to turn over the football. And we know how Coach Womack and this defense like to, or, every defense wants to force turnovers, but this defense is really good at forcing
Yeah.
turnovers.
They are.
If they can force Aguilar into bad decisions, that's a big time key in this game, Jake. So, but he's a great player, and you got to give him credit being able to learn this system and be so effective at executing it with the limited amount of time he had going into the season. But this is a big time matchup, a really fun matchup for this Alabama defense. And like I mentioned, it's hard to not have a lot of respect for what Coach Heupel can do and the
Yeah.
way he's able to be so balanced. I know he spreads you out, but he spreads you out so he can run the football. But then
Yep.
he's also able to capitalize on those lighter boxes on the ground game, and then creating those matchups in the secondary and creating explosive plays in the passing game. Just a really good scheme and a really hard, uh, kind of scheme to match up for and game plan for during the week. But Jake, X factor for this Alabama defense in this matchup. Who are you looking at for Alabama to have a big game?
Uh, you know, I think there's going to be a guy that he's starting to make a name for himself, and it's a guy you've been really high on. But I feel like Landon Simmons can have a huge game here. He's just getting better each and every week, and you're starting to see him on the field a lot more. And we really need someone on the defensive line outside of LTO to kind of step up and make some plays. He's been doing that a little bit. I really like to see James Smith start making some as well, but I feel like Simmons has been getting, get to the backfield a good bit, and a couple plays last week that he made tackles for loss on. He was in the backfield like before they even got a chance to get on him. So he's very explosive on his first move. So I really feel like he's going to have a big game. And I would say another guy to look out for is another guy that we saw last week kind of make a pretty much a good impact, and that is Keon Keeley. I expect to start to see him. I think he got 18 snaps last week. I imagine he's probably going to get about 20, 25 this week, and probably get a little bit more as the season goes.
Love those two guys, man. I mean, it's nice that Keeley finally got his opportunity last week,
Right.
and it's one thing to get the opportunity; it's another to take advantage of it.
Yep.
So credit to Keeley. He stayed the course. He's moved positions. Uh, he's had to kind of wait his turn. He got his opportunity, and it's significant and important time in the game, and he made plays.
Yep.
Kudos to that kid for staying the course and not giving up on himself and giving up on his teammates and giving up on
Mhm.
Alabama and just being ready when his number's called. And he made plays
Right.
for Alabama, and that's impressive to see. And I love those two picks, Jake. London Simmons has been special for Alabama as a true freshman, like
Mhm.
you mentioned, better each and every week.
Mhm.
PFF put out a post yesterday that
Oh
he's
yeah.
the highest graded run defender as a freshman in the country. No surprise, Jake. This guy has
Mhm.
just been rock solid for Alabama on the interior of the defensive line. For me,
Mhm.
I
Three
got to
star.
go with somebody. Yeah, yeah, 3 star you, baby. Um, I got to go with somebody on the back end, Jake. I think Keon Sabb, a
Mm.
guy who
Mhm.
has quietly had a better year than what he had last year. I know he hasn't forced quite as many turnovers, but had the big pick against Vanderbilt in the red zone. Once again, makes a play. Made some plays last week. Should have had a sack. I
Yep.
think he could be in for a big game. I could
Yeah.
see I'm not ready to call a multi-interception game, but I think he gets at least one. I think he's a big time player and big time X factor in this matchup.
That's a good pick, Stacy. And he got hurt in this game last year, so I guarantee he's ready to play this game for sure to show what he can do and help his teammates out to win this game.
All right, Jake, bold prediction time. What you got for us this week?
All right. Offensively, I think it's a running back committee type deal. We've done this couple of times, but I see us getting I think we get two rushing touchdowns this week.
Okay.
Uh, and we kind of we didn't really mention it and when we was talking about the offense, but we've got down the red zone several times and just fell flat on our face and had to kick field goals. That's one of the keys for this game is we once we get in the red zone, we've got to punch it in and get touchdowns. I feel like we kind of covered that this week, get a couple of scores, and I feel like either Raleigh or Hill, maybe Richard Young, you'd see the field again and get a couple of scores on the ground. And then defensively, I'm saying as a unit, as the top, the front seven, Simmons, Keenan, Smith, LT, and the linebackers, whoever it is, they get 4 sacks on the day.
Love it. Love it. For me, offensively, I'm going to say that Ryan Williams has over 100 yards receiving and has at least one touchdown on the day. I think
Love
he's
it.
due for a breakout performance.
Hmm.
I think he's just right on the cusp of turning the corner and becoming that guy who we all believe and know that he's capable of being. Defensively, for me, I kind of already a little bit gave it away. I think we have multiple interceptions in this game. I'll kind of cheat myself a little bit. I say we create multiple turnovers in the game, whether it's
Hmm.
interceptions, fumble, multiple turnovers defensively that turn into big turning points for Alabama in this matchup. All right,
Love it.
Jake, score prediction time. I ain't got the FanDuel thing pulled up right now, but last I seen like 8.5 or so
Mm.
was what Alabama was favored by. Does Alabama cover? Do they get the win? What's your score prediction this week, buddy?
Yeah, you know, they always say being at home, you always spot yourself 7 points. So Alabama's right there already covering with the home field advantage. But this is going to be, a good matchup for both teams. It's going to, be a dogfight for the first half. But I think, you know, if Ty Simpson can make the plays in the offensive line, and I know Ty's gonna make the plays, is if the offensive line allows him to make those plays, they keep him upright. This offense is going to score some points. And I think our defense can be just good enough to stop, Tennessee on third downs and get the ball back for our offense. And I'm seeing this game like a 38-28 type game. I think we can win by 10. I said on my show last night 42-31. I would love to get in the 40s, but maybe kind of hard, but a 38-28 victory, Bryant Denny, I would definitely take for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm almost right there on board with you as far as score prediction goes. I think this is a game where you see kind of a I don't want to say a statement win for Alabama, but I think you see one of their better games. I think you see a higher level of execution on each side of the football. We talked about the red zone issues for Alabama offensively. I think you see them take care of that more this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Alabama kind of like almost making a statement with this victory over Tennessee. I'm going to say 38-21 Alabama. I think obviously Tennessee's going to make some plays, but I do think Alabama does a better job in the red zone. I think
Mm-hmm.
their ability to control the ball and
Yeah.
and that limits the number of possessions for Tennessee, or I'd be right there with you where they're scoring 28, 31 points or so. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think Alabama's ability to kind of control the ball and time of possession limits the
Yeah.
number of possessions for Tennessee, slows their scoring down just a touch. I do think Tennessee gets theirs a little bit offensively, but I think just enough plays defensively, creating turnovers, giving Alabama's offense good field position, and Alabama does a good job in the red zone. They come away with a 38-21 win and kind of flex their muscle in Tuscaloosa. on their way to improving their record to 6-1 and continuing their winning streak here in 2025. Anything else you want to add, Jake, before we wrap it up?
No, man, it's excited matchup. Third Saturday in October. Smoke them if you got them, baby, because I'm going to lock me one up. Saturday night after we win, because I'm confident in this team and their ability to win this game, especially at home. But the crowd's got to be there. Crowd's got to be there, guys. So be loud, be proud. All the way till there's double zeros on the board in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely, buddy. All right, guys. Hey, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. Once again, if you had any audio or video issues, that is completely my fault because I'm doing this on my phone. If not, then I apologize for nothing. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do like, share, and subscribe. Jump in the comments, give us your thoughts and opinions on this matchup. Give us your bowl predictions, score predictions, player of the game, just your entire thought process on this big time matchup in Tuscaloosa. We are powered by the Believe Network, which makes us free and available wherever you find your podcast. So make sure you like, follow, subscribe, download on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast. Just search Tide Talk Live and you can find us there. And we appreciate all your support. We'll see you again real soon, hopefully in the post game, smoking cigars, enjoying the win. But until then, guys, this has been Tide Talk Live. Stacey Blackwood, Jake Thomas. We'll see you real soon. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.